So as I read through Genesis, I am stuck on Noah. And I don't know if I've ever been stuck on Noah before. Joseph, absolutely. David, yes. But Noah doesn't get talked about all that much, but I can't seem to get past Genesis chapter 7 through 9. And I think it's because I understand so much of what he's going through during this time, and I can picture myself right in the midst of it. So here's what I wrote today. Noah was found righteous in God's eyes. He did as God commanded. You alone have I found righteous. Noah's 3 sons, 3 daughter-in-laws, and wife were all saved because of Noah's devotion to God. Did Noah have other children? I bet he did. So what happened to them? If they didn't follow their father's instruction, they were lost in the flood. God would have spared them had they listened. It was their choice to stay off the boat. So I was thinking about that and about when God closed the door and shut everybody else out and shut them in. If Noah had other children, because be fruitful, multiply, and they were having lots of kids, and some of his kids would have been banging on the outside of the door, and that would have killed Noah, to know that he couldn't get them because the door was shut behind him. He wasn't able to open it. And we need to be so careful. But we always need to secure our own salvation, and not, as a parent, all you want is to save your kids and to do everything for them. But in the end, every person has their own choice. Okay, so they spent a year in that boat. They weren't always on the water being rocked in the sea, and that's what everybody thinks, right? For a bit of time in the beginning and at the end, they were on the land, yet still in the boat. They were being protected from what was outside, but it must have gotten difficult to continue to wait inside when the world looks safe, yet God tells you to stay put. Putting your trust in Him will save your life. You don't know of all the dangers they were spared by simply obeying. So I think about his other children, supposed children, friends, brothers, sisters, everybody. They had the same opportunity, and they chose not to because it didn't work for them. It seemed fine. They didn't have to obey. They didn't have to follow what God said. But Noah and his family, they trusted. I believe his family trusted Noah, and Noah trusted God, because that's kind of how it's implied in the Bible. And so because of Noah's faith, they were protected and they were looked after. They spent a year in the boat, but it gets almost no discussion. How many times were there fights about wanting to uncover the ark and leave before God said it was time? So I picture many discussions of when you're absolutely frustrated and you don't want to be there anymore, and you're like, you know what, Noah's crazy. God clearly has forgotten about us, or it's fine. What is your problem? I'm just gonna open it up and we'll be fine. And I know back then, most likely women didn't have a lot of public authority, but we have a lot of persuasion, and I can't imagine that there wasn't some frustration going on in their bedrooms where they're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and they're waiting on Noah, and Noah's waiting on God to just tell them that it's ready to leave. And then to keep waiting and to keep waiting must have been absolutely aggravating, when, especially once you could see land and you could see out there, and all you want to do is get off that boat, and to continue to wait had to have been so hard. How many times did they question and doubt God's silence? I'm assuming He told them what to do, then expected them to follow through. Well, because that's what happens with me. I'll hear something and it'll be so clear. And then I won't get anything for a long time because he's already told me what to do. Now what I have to do is stay put, stay where he wants me to stay, and not just keep moving. We want hand-holding, we want constant encouragement, but there are times when we don't hear anything. It can be so frustrating because we are desperate for an answer. We already have the answer, we just don't like it. Wait, stay put. Our understanding of time is so different than God's. And I say the next part, and I completely mean what I say. 1,000 years is like a day to God, but a day to us is like 1,000 years. We hold so much value in today when we have no idea what's coming up next. Genesis 8:3 discusses 150 days. In one verse, 150 days. Can you imagine those 150 days? I mean, day in, day out, day in, day out, same environment. They must have gotten so cabin crazy, cabin fever, stir crazy. They must have just wanted off of that boat, especially after the 150th day, and still nothing. They have two verses that describe what's going on in the earth. Oh yeah, the water, it's going down, and they're gonna stay put. But so are you. You're gonna stay right where you are while I take care of everything. It would have been so hard to embrace and not just go by your logic, where I could help. I could totally help God do this. Why won't he just let me off the boat? Why won't he let me off the boat? I just need to get off the boat and I can help, because we want to take the reins back over. Genesis 8:6 says that 40 more days were passed. So that's 190 days that they're on this boat. Okay, God, I've done what you want me to do. It's been 190 days. You're welcome. Maybe nobody else ever is like this, but for me, I get so impatient after a while, and I want to help. But maybe he doesn't need my help. Maybe what he needs me to do is do what he told me to do, instead of try to help him do what he has to do. It must have been so hard to continue to trust at that time, 190 days. Granted, they were living in a wildlife refuge and God had spared their lives. This would have been still, even with all the miracles that they had seen, it would have been the extreme case of cabin fever. When the dove comes back with the olive leaf, imagine the next 7 days. You know that the end is coming, yet you can't see it, but you have a glimpse of it. Oh man, my brain would get dreaming about all the things that I wanted to do. However, after the 7 days, they didn't get to leave. It would be from the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year until the second month, his 27th day, before God said they could leave the ark. So after the 190 days, they still had 57 more days before God said, okay, now you can leave. And think about what was going on during those 57 days. Those 57 days must have been absolutely difficult, because they can see, they can look around, but yet they needed to trust that where they were was the right place to be. And imagine those 57 days where they're not hearing, well done, thou good and faithful servant, great is thy reward. How come? What about day 33 and 37 and 39 and waiting? Because God didn't say, hey, in 57 days, I'm going to let you off the boat. He didn't say it. He just needed them to stay put and wait. And as I watch things in my life unravel, and I do not care for them whatsoever, there's this urging in my heart that says to wait, stay put, don't Maggie this situation, don't keep going, don't push to get your desire is done. Wait, stay put. And so maybe Genesis 7 through 9 is speaking to me because I want to get off the boat. I want to hurry up and take charge. And I'm not supposed to, because I'm not the captain here of this whole ship. Noah was the captain though, and he still listened because he recognized that there was somebody even more powerful than him. And so my encouragement today is, don't Maggie the situation. Don't take over where clearly it's not time for you. You need to wait, even if it's 57 more days, even if it's 157 more days, 197 more days. You need to wait, because who knows what's out there. And if we go by what we're understanding, we could miss the ark altogether.